Clayton. Hey, I have a question for you. We've had 2 rental properties, single family homes that the renters moved out in the last 6 months or so. And both of them left the house trashed and didn't pay the last month's rent. One house between fixing what they trashed and waiting for contractors to get work done, we were out about 14 grand. And this is a rental that we make $1,200 a month on. The other one, same scenario. Between they left an exorbitant amount of pets that we had no idea about. They literally left pets in the home, lizards and snakes and fish that had to be removed and rehomed.
Scary.
And then cleaning the house and replacing carpets in the works. That one was 12 grand. Luckily, that one got turned around quicker. So I'm at a loss. Our property managers have sent them invoices for what they owe, but they're not going to pay it. So my question to you, do we take them to small claims court? What do we do? I think mine would be out of small claims court for how much they owe. We're at a loss. I'd love to hear your feedback on what you think. Thank you.
Oh, Jenifer, I'm sorry to hear that. That's tough. First of all, I'd want to know, you didn't tell me where these properties were. It sounds, I don't know. It sounds like it might not be I'm hoping it's not a larger issue here with this particular area. I mean, is it an area that you might not want to be investing in the first place? I'm just curious about that. I'm not passing judgment, but it sounds like if you have that kind of turnover where these tenants are trashing the property and 2 of them in a small, like that could be an issue here. Is it maybe a rougher area? I just want to understand that, number one. Number 2, I'd want to find out, like, what is the property manager doing that they hadn't checked on these tenants to find out, have pets and checking in on them and to confirm that, doing sort of quality assurance check-ins like our property managers do to make sure that kind of stuff is not happening. That's also important to look at. And again, I'd want to know what the screening process is from my property managers. Like with the property managers that we work with at Morris Invest, like that's not going to, you're always going to have a bad tenant from time to time, but they're going to do some extensive screening to make sure that there is no bigger problem at play here where they're not going to pay their security deposits. They're not going to pay their rent and they're going to walk away and all of that stuff. We want to have things in place to make sure that doesn't happen ahead of time in the screening process. So just some things to think about on the property management side. That sticks out to me first. Second, on the going to court thing, we had a contractor years ago who, basically we paid him $15,000 to do work that he didn't do and just skipped town. We couldn't find him. It's the risk reward. My father-in-law has a good rule of thumb on going to court. He's a businessman. If you're in business, you deal with lawyers. You go to court. This is what you deal with if you're a business person and you're an entrepreneur. If you don't want any of that drama, then you just work for somebody else, a W-2 job, get your paycheck, don't put anything away, don't have cash flow, don't have a future, in wealth building. But then you don't have to deal with some of that drama. So it's kind of a risk reward in that way. His rule of thumb is, look, if the cost is there, like if I've lost more than, I think his threshold is like $30,000 or $35,000, then I weigh going to hiring a lawyer and going after that. But for the most part, if it's going to be under $25,000 or under $30,000, the amount of time that you're going to spend hiring a lawyer, getting a retainer for $5,000, right, for a lawyer, or even $10,000 for a good lawyer. So now you're out of pocket more money just to retain a lawyer, and then to go through the process of trying to get money from a stone. If they don't have money, how are they going to pay you? Right. So now you're trying to squeeze money out of a stone and good luck with that. Right. That's just not going to happen. If there is no money, there's no money to get. And sure, you could go through the process of getting a default judgment and then garnishing wages and all of that. But then are they even working? And where is that money going to come from? So it's a risk reward. I would definitely think about the total sum here and talk to a lawyer about that, get legal advice. Obviously, lawyers are going to want to make money. But I would definitely caution you. And then the other thing you have to remember is that when you go through the legal process, it always sucks the life out of you. Even if you're in the right, which you are, right? They owe you money. They owe you money and they haven't paid it. It's always going to suck the life out of you. Doesn't matter if you're on the winning side or you're on the I'm on the right side of this. It's going to take from your life essence. It absolutely will. It always will. Because now you'll be on the phone, you're dealing with paperwork, you'll have to go to court, all of that stuff. It's going to suck the life out of you. So another thing you may want to consider is pandemic assistance and rental assistance. They didn't pay their rent. And is there a reason why they didn't pay their rent? And is pandemic related? And there are rental assistance programs throughout the country right now that's just been sitting there, billions of dollars that's been available that states have not, that people have not even taken advantage of. So there might be rental assistance money that you might be able to gain access to through your state at the pandemic level assistance for rental assistance to be able to gain some of that money back as a result, and maybe even some of the damages as a result of these tenants who weren't paying and then left the place trashed may also be covered. So again, reach out to your state and your county and look at some of those options. And then at the end of the day, these expenses are write-offs on your taxes. This is a business expense. This is a bad year for your business, and we hope to bounce back next year. And have great, strong income and rental income over the next few years by making sure that the screening process is done correctly on the tenants and that these tenants are going to stay there a nice long time. And so we'll turn this ship around. At the end of the day, we all go through periods of this with tenants and tenant placement, but the idea is to try to mitigate some of that. So great question, Jenifer. I hope I helped you in some way, point you in some different directions on this. I know it might not be the answer you want, but seek legal help here. Give them a call and see at least what the pain and suffering will look like to try to collect some money from these people. And if there's any gold pot at the end of this rainbow and a leprechaun. All right. If you'd like to ask a question here on the show, please go to morrisinvest.com/Clayton. Click on the button and leave us like a 30-second voicemail question so we can answer it here. And if you would like to take the plunge and get your first real estate investment done for you, fully done for you, just go to our website at morrisinvest.com and click on the book a call button and jump on the phone with one of our team members. They'll walk you through exactly what we do, the funding options we have in place from our different banks that we work with, and show you the different new construction properties that hopefully would be right for you as an investment. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time, everyone.